What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I'm Shawn.
And we are speaking the language of bromance. And today is an amazing day. It's a day of... I feel remiss to call it a post-mortem because that makes you... Because you hear the word post-mortem, you're like, oh, God, who died? But no, this is not a post-mortem. This is a pre-livum. Yeah, that's right. I make words up.
Oh, Richard.
Shawn, who do we have with us today?
Richard, I've just had two amazing episodes where we talked about Big River Comic Con and had our panels. We had day 1, day 2. And this was the very first con that you and I have been to. You and I have been on stage for in terms of like hosting a panel ever.
Yeah, we've been at cons before on a stage for panels, but not as, I don't know, pseudo MC for lack of a better word.
And yeah, so we come in, like, we don't even really know all that is going on. You know, we know we've got some panels, we know we got a table, and right away getting there, we feel like we were welcomed with open arms. Like, you know, we got everything we needed, we got taken care of, and it was just a great event. And you know, I've been to a few cons just as a con goer. And,
yeah,
you know, I've been to Kansas City's Planet Comic Con, actual Kansas City Comic Con, a couple other ones. But Big River Comic Con to me was probably one of the best run, best big group feel for a con that I've been to. Most cons.
100%.
Most cons, you show up and you kind of walk around, you see some stuff, but like all the big event stuff, like the panels are all kind of like pushed to the side. But here, Richard, they were front and center, so people looking around, talking, could still hear and see everything going on. And it wasn't a situation where it was like, oh, you have to stand in line for 3 hours to sit down and listen to these really cool people talk. I've been to San Diego Comic-Con, and if you want to hear anybody speak that is remotely, related to something that you like. If you want to hear Kevin Smith speak, or you want to hear whoever speak, like, you're standing in a line for at least an hour and a half. Oh, for sure.
Probably closer to double that if you want to actually get a seat in a hall to listen to them talk. For this, no waiting. You got to sit right in this. You could just walk by and be like, oh, okay, I'll sit down for this. Cool. Like, and it was awesome. It was awesome, and I loved it.
Yeah, and Richard, I'm excited because you reached out to the founder of Big River Comic Con, the woman that brought us to Big River Comic Con. And this isn't like, we're not just saying these things, but we're like, please bring us back, Dexter. Please.
No.
Because if she told us like, hey, you guys weren't any good, don't come back, I would still go as a con goer because it was that much fun.
Yeah, I would too.
But Richard, today,
my little backpack.
We are going to welcome the founder of the Big River Comic Con, Deb. Deb, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm excited to have you on and kind of pick your brain about running, being at, and future of Big River Comic Con.
Thank you guys for having me. Right?
Debs, it's been, I mean, we were only around in person together for 2 days, but in a way, I feel like you're almost like, you're like our nerd mom. That's how close I'm feeling right now. Like, and that's another thing that I wanted to, point out with this is that, like, between you and the amazing volunteers that worked on every single aspect of this, like, it wasn't like it was a convention, it had that feel of a comic convention, but at the same time, it definitely had a very intimate, almost like family feel to it. And that's the thing that I think I liked the most about it is that the people that I met, the people that I talked to there, and obviously the people that walk past our table, or the people that sat down for Q&As, but I mean, just like the volunteers and everybody, like it definitely felt like, from the outside looking in, it looked like a very close-knit group of people that, like, really worked well together and liked, being around each other in a what could possibly be a stressful situation, but like it had a very almost like family friendly feel. Yes. I spent 3 days hanging out with your son, and he's amazing. he's a great dude.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, Ming's part of the family now. He hung out with you. I know. So
yeah,
but yeah, that's kind of how it's been with this convention. Like, you know, you come in as friends or guests or vendors, and then we just everyone's family when it's all over with. You know.
Yeah.
And it's going to stay that way. That's how I want it to stay. I want people to leave feeling like, wow, I now have all these incredible people in my life. And so, yeah, it's been an amazing ride for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And also coming off of, you know, the year that never was, like, it almost just felt like, it felt like this like return, you know, kind of return to normalcy. Like I think I said this to Shawn. It's like, you know, after kind of the first day, I was like, you know, it felt like I almost forgot how to people.
Yeah.
Like I forgot how to people. And then at the end of the first day, it was like the rust was kind of like working itself out. I'm like, okay, this is how you interact with other human beings. I remember this. This is starting to get familiar.
Yes, this is fun. I like interacting. Yeah.
So I'm not sure where all you want to kind of go, Deb, but I'd be curious if, like, you know, kind of give us the pre-day one of the con going. Kind of tell us, you know, how everything came to be for this year's con.
So I started working on this year's con back in October of 2019. We rescheduled the date, and you work on these every day, pretty much. You know, you take a few days off in the beginning, but once you hit that 3-month period, the 3-month mark, it's every day. You know, staying in touch with your vendors, staying in touch with your celebrity guests, making sure we have everything in place for those guys when they arrive. The vendor map, you know, getting people set up in the spots that, you know, they want to be in if they need electricity. The vendor map is always changing. It even changed the day that the vendors showed up. We were moving things around to accommodate them for bigger spaces, things of that nature. So once you hit that 3-month mark, you're working every day on it. Somehow, there's always something to be working on. So
when it comes to like things like lining up vendors and stuff like that, like, is it just like, how carefully do you consider, like, is it just like, I'm going to send out an email blast and anybody, you know, like whoever wants to show up and then we'll figure out a spot for you? Or
no, we are kind of selective. We want our vendors to change every year because it is a small venue. In a smaller town, we want people to keep coming back. So I try to change the vendors up every year. We may have a couple that return. But what I do is when I go to other conventions, you know, I kind of just look at the vendors that I really like as far as their products and stuff. And what I feel our demographic would be interested in. So that's kind of how I pick and choose vendors.
I think that's cool. Cause then, like, you know, you're not going to see the same thing twice. You know, it's always going to be something different. And you also get like a wide variety. Be like, oh, this person's selling comics, but this person's selling toys, and this one's selling, you know, like old school. You want to see an old Nintendo cartridge? You go over to, you know, 9C.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Walking through, I got a 1988 TMNT comic, and then a couple steps down, I got a Pokemon custom ball for my son. So you kind of got to see all that there. Like you said, kind of cycling through each year with this being a small con. Everybody's gonna know, hey, yeah, because, you know, like when you go to a lot of cons that are kind of like medium sized, you go to one and go to the other, it's the same group of people. But with this one, like you said, it's going to be different people each year. So you have to go because it's going to be something different.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I've already reached out to a couple of new vendors for 2022. So I'm excited about that. One of them sells a lot of anime stuff.
Ooh.
So, because I feel like we need a little more anime at the convention. So I'm excited about them. So.
Oh, my youngest will be so excited. My youngest is they watch anime constantly. And, you know, I mean, I can geek with the best of them. I really can. But for some reason, anime and me just kind of like have this weird disconnect. It's something that just I never, and it's sad because I feel like I kind of missed the boat on it, you know, like even though like, you know, it crops up all the time.
Yeah.
It's still like, I try.
It's something you can't just like half like you either really, really like it or you're just not going to watch it.
And I don't know a lot about anime. I'm kind of like you, but I know there's a lot of people. I would really like to see, you know, a vendor there that does that. So I do listen to what the crowd wants also, you know, to kind of help get new vendors in. So I always want to keep the crowd kind of involved, you know, to keep them coming back for more.
Yeah.
So going up through kind of like to get to day one, you know, you've got some vendors, you got some celebrities. What was some of like the bigger challenges kind of getting up to that day one?
So we had several celebrity guests this year, getting those guys picked up from the airport with all the different arrival times. So yeah, I did a lot of driving back and forth to St. Louis. I relied on my team, on the days that I was traveling to pick those guys up, you know, to take care of the event floor for me. So I had someone there taking care of the vendors and the tables. And then when I got back, we moved tables.
Yeah, I know Ming said that. He's like, Deb's just Deb's picked me up at the airport. And she's like, he's like, it was actually kind of cool because, you know, like I think that you picked up Ming and you had Ming and Tom Cook in the car at the same time.
Mark Dodson. Yeah.
Oh, and Mark. And that's, you know, you guys were driving back from St. Louis and Ming was like, it's funny because, you know, I've been to cons with Mark and like I've seen him and kind of, you know, maybe like had like a little casual conversation here and there. He's like, but this was like an opportunity. Like I got to spend, you know, like 2 hours in a car, just like chit chatting about, you know, 80 different things. He's like, it was actually like, it was unexpected and really, really kind of a cool thing that like, you know, and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I've been told that, most promoters don't do what I did, picking up the guests and stuff. So yeah, I was like, well, I wanted to meet you guys. I knew I wouldn't have time, you know, during the event. So I was like, I'll just go pick them all up.
Yeah. And again, that lends to like, you know, the whole like,
intimate family feel.
Exactly. The whole personability of it all, you know?
Yeah. So, and we got to stop at QT and I found out that that's one of Ming's favorite gas stations is QT.
It is.
So, yeah.
It is.
I saw the pictures. I thought that was really cute. Yeah.
He's got a ton of Facebook pictures.
Yeah. So, yeah. Once the event started though, everything just kind of fell into place. Like it just, and I don't know if it's because we worked so hard up until the night before on it. That's why things went so smoothly, but things just went so well. We didn't really have any problems. We had a couple of volunteers that didn't show up, but it was okay because people just wanted to stay and hang out and spots that we needed. So it went amazingly smooth. So
yeah, and I feel like, you know, I kind of almost feel like this is almost like a wedding type thing. Like you show up and you see and talk to so many people that you don't remember any of it because you're just so busy, you know, seeing everybody and going through the motions. But I have to say, like, there's multiple times that, you know, we needed you for a couple things, and even when I was leaving to say goodbye, and I never felt once like you were like stressed or under pressure, or like you were trying to rush us out of the way. Like you gave us your full attention, which I absolutely admire, because that's a very difficult thing to do, especially when you're trying to run like a con. Like there's a million things going on. You got like, okay, this Bromance guy's coming up. What does he want? Hey, you know where I could get some water?
Yeah.
I really.
So if you were stressed, you hit it very, very well.
I
You
really
hit it
wasn't
amazingly.
stressed. I really wasn't. It was just like I worked so hard on this, and it finally, it finally happened, and I was sad when it was over. And that's probably why I'm already working on 2022.
Yeah.
I'm already looking forward to next year.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I want to talk about like a lot of the different things that we had. So you had your vendors, and like I said, they ran the gamut. They were all, there was a guy that 3D printed like a bunch of stuff in one of the corners. So cool. Giant collection of Funko Pops that were downstairs. Yeah. One thing that I missed out on that I really wish I would have spent more time, because, I feel like that's a lot. Shawn, I feel like it's almost a lot more my wheelhouse than yours, but there was a gaming arena downstairs.
Yeah, they had some Magic Gathering
tournaments.
Yes.
Oh, it was one of those things that like, I can't leave this table for 3 hours and go play Magic. I really want to, but I can't.
Yeah. So we had that going on in the basement. Yeah.
There was that stuff going on. There was the stuff on stage, the sketch battles. I want to talk about the sketch battles because that's something I had never really seen at a convention, and it might be something that I just might have like overlooked when I was looking at a program and stuff like that. But you had a professional category, and then you had an amateur category, and some of the things that people could come up with in 60 seconds.
It was super impressive.
They would.
I know.
And also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that you yourself participated in said sketch battle, and I can say that you definitely draw better than I do, 100%.
I was shocked at what I drew. I mean, I cannot draw. I am not an artist by any means, but when they said draw Baby Yoda talking to Snoopy, I was just like, I got this. And I just, I participated because one of our artists had a family emergency. So I took her spot. It was so much fun though. And we're going to do it again next year. The staff sergeant from the Army who actually won it, but he won the belt. He will have to come back next year with that championship belt and defend his title. Oh,
and I love that idea. That is such a great idea.
That was a sweet looking belt. That belt looked awesome. That's something you can hang on a wall.
Yeah.
I wish I knew how to draw so I could have that belt and hang it on my wall, because that thing looked
you should try
dope as hell.
You should try it next year.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Even though I can't draw, it was just so much fun to do,
But see, since you discovered that hidden talent that apparently all you need is just a giant crowd in front of you and a ticking clock. So now everybody's going to expect it next year. Yeah.
So that sketch battle, I kind of want to how does that come up? Where did the idea for that come up? Because it's something like Richard said, I don't think I've ever seen it before at a con, at least not to that scale to where it was very much presented extremely well. And the volunteers you had up on stage did an amazing job. They asked us to come up and help.
Good.
Yes.
And Richard and I kind of walked on the side of the stage. We're both like, they don't need us. They're doing really well.
They don't need us at all. She's killing it. She's totally fine. And she comes over and she's like, help me. Can you guys help? I feel like I'm dying up here. I was like, you were the exact opposite. You were doing 100% fine.
Yeah, she did an amazing job. That is Cena. She is my cosplay lead. She takes care of all cosplay, and the sketch battle, was kind of her idea. She threw it out there, and we just kind of worked on it, her and I, and she just made it better than what we had originally planned for it to be. She's like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and I'm like, well, let's do it. It sounds great. So
yeah,
I don't know if that's something maybe she had seen. at a convention that she had went to. I've never seen a sketch battle at a convention myself. But I think it went so well. The crowd really, interacted with everyone, and so she did amazing. I don't think we will change too much with the sketch battle. I think it's perfect the way it is.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah, I thought it was paced very well, and even like kind of go on the fly, like where it's like 3 minutes. It's like, well, let's cut this down to 2 minutes because it's going really, really well. I thought it was good, so I really like that. But yeah, so you're kind of saying that she kind of came up with that idea, and you guys kind of
ran with it.
Yeah, and then like even our judge that we had, he's an art professor at the university here. He was so entertaining himself. How he was judging. It was just, it was really. I was very happy with how the sketch battle turned out because we were kind of unsure.
Well, and on the plus side, then you got like all this really cool, like all this really cool art that you just like throw up on a wall. And you're like, look, this is,
Mm-hmm.
And then people walk by and they're like, that looks really good. I think I could do better.
Well,
I wasn't one of those people, but
that's what I loved is because people would walk by because we were kind of like right in front of that, and you see people point, like, "Oh my gosh, what are these?" You'd be like, "Oh, those are from the sketch battle from last night." So it's something if you missed. I mean, that's something definitely
they drew
look
that in
forward
2
to.
minutes.
Yeah.
2 minutes. Yeah. So I don't know. We may have to revisit, what we do with the pictures next year. Like maybe we can auction them off or something. Who knows?
That's a good idea.
That would be, that
would be a good kind of silent auction type thing because you can kind of have them up around and you could mark who the winner is, and that one would be the chase version of it where it's super super high priced.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to write this down for my notes. So.
Yeah.
We'll look into that.
You can auction them off, and then like all the proceeds go to
whatever organization.
Yeah.
Writing that down.
So I think
if there's one thing that I want to put in the suggestion box, it's that so this year they you guys had the actual mayor of Hannibal.
Yes.
Come and he I think he judged he was a judge for some of the cosplay contests.
Yes.
And stuff like that. So my suggestion is I need to see that man in a costume. How can you judge cosplayers when you do not do it yourself?
I know.
I beg to ask.
That was brought up. And
I think it was brought up by me.
I think it was you. And he looked at me and said, well, you need to help me think of something to wear for next year. And I was like, well, what should we put him in?
I mean, the easy choice would be Palpatine, right? You'd have him as the easy choice would be evil Emperor Palpatine, but it feels a little I don't know. That feels like a bit of a dig. So you gotta, I don't know. We'll figure out something.
Figure out something for him.
Yeah. But even speaking of him, something that we didn't talk about, I have to congratulate on you because like I felt like this was such like Richard's talking like local family feel and just like a lot of people behind people and local people around local people. Seeing you get the key to the city and it being announced it was Superhero Day. That, I mean, Richard and I were holding back tears for that because that was so amazing and very much well deserved for you. When you consider that this is the first thing that's really kind of come out of all of this craziness that's been the last few years. And then just being able to build something, create something for Hannibal, Missouri, a little bit smaller town, doesn't get a lot of the pull, but you were able to pull it off in a big, bad way. And like, I think you deserve every bit of credit for that. And I just want to say you awesome, great work. And
give a kudos for that because I don't think we talked about it in our last 2 episodes, but want to say congratulations
Thank
again
you.
on that.
I was so honored and I was shocked. Well, you've seen it. He brought me to tears. So, yeah. But yeah, it was, that meant a lot to me to get the key. So
did you know that was happening at all when he was on stage or did that kind of?
No, I did not. I had no idea.
That's cool.
Yeah. And he called up the entire team, and my kids were there when I received it. So Yeah, it meant a lot to me. He's the mayor's he's a great guy. He's been so supportive of the ComiCon. But yeah, you're gonna get me teary-eyed again thinking about it.
Well, the big question we had on that key, Richard and I are both wanting, like, that opens every door, right? Like, that get anywhere in the city, you can open a door.
Hey, well, that's what I hear. We haven't tried it yet, but we were going to try that Saturday night after the event, but everyone was kind of tired, so we didn't run around trying to unlock doors. We'll save that for next time.
I know that was Ming's thing that night. He's like, call Deb, let's go open doors.
Hey, I know it's closing time, but you know what? We got the key to the city, so any bar's ours, right?
Oh gosh, yeah, Ming. He's fun. He
Jesse,
really
call your mom. We need the key.
Yeah. He ended up going out with my daughter and her fiance and one of her friends Saturday night. So.
Oh yeah, I was there too. I was there too.
You were there every night.
I was there every night. I did every single night.
His kidney's just starting to recover, I think.
I was talking with Jesse about this. I was like, I feel like both of us need to go to a meeting after this weekend.
Right.
I was like, you need to get on a plane and fly back home and then immediately just go, hi, my name's...
You two will be in a meeting together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Kind of sad I didn't get to hang out with everyone, but that's okay.
But that's what next year's for. See, that's the thing is you had this year to like figure to like this was your figuring stuff out. And then next year is the year that you can kind of like maybe like know where to place certain things, so you can kind of let a couple things run on autopilot and maybe kick back. I can definitely say that you 100% enjoyed yourself. Like I never saw you having, like you said, like you never seemed stressed. You always seemed like you were having a good time. However,
yes, I had an amazing time.
Yes. I could definitely tell you wanted sleep badly. When it came to the end of the night, it was I'm gonna go to bed, guys.
Bye, have fun. I'm going to bed now.
So let's see. We talked about sketch battles, celebrity guests. Is there any kind of behind the scenes stuff on celebrity guests that you can or would like to share? Because I feel like that's something a lot of people don't understand, the amount of work that goes in to getting people here, scheduled. We had a couple of people who unfortunately couldn't make it that were planned to be here. I'm kind of curious, like how that process works out.
So first you contact their agents, you give them your dates, you find out what their guarantees are. I don't know if I should be saying all this and they'd be giving away secrets of the trade. Once you figure out what the guarantees are, the dates, then you schedule the airline tickets, and that all costs money.
Yeah.
You get set up in the hotels. You have per diems. They each get a per diem.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. To me, it's kind of easy now because this is the second time, we've done this.
Yeah.
But to have that many guests, that was a little tricky. Getting them all here. Getting all the flights lined up, and then 2020, then we had to reschedule all the flights for 2021.
Right.
That was a little bit of a headache. And then unfortunately Felix, passed away, so he couldn't make it. And then Lisa had a family emergency, and that one happened like I think the day before.
Yeah, I think so.
That was like the day before.
Couple hours before we were supposed to go to the airport and pick her up. So that was a little stressful, but I was just ready for the convention to start at that point. So I just didn't really let it bother me. But
it's still full steam ahead.
It's still full steam ahead. So yeah, you mainly get a hold of, you talk to their agents and, see if the dates work for them, and you just kind of go from there.
Yeah, and like you're talking about.
Oh, go ahead, Shawn.
I'll just say like something like, most people probably like, I didn't really think about this till you were talking about it, but with like a con like this, most of the money that you get from it coming in is at the door. And like you talking about all this guarantees and flights and all this stuff that you have to pay up front to get them there. And you're kind of, there's a big investment and a big, upfront cost to you on this. And, I don't think a lot of people think about that kind of thing, but there's a lot that you're putting into this just to get it going, which is, again, this is the Deb show, so I want to give you kudos. Like that's a big deal. That's huge, and really appreciate stuff like that for sure.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. That I think people walk up to the door and somebody at the door says, okay, like if you want to come in here, it's going to be $15 or $20, or you pay $20 and you can come in both days. And I think that not a lot of people understand the cost that it takes to do something like this on any scale, let alone with like multiple guests and multiple vendors and to line up and coordinate all that. Like, it's mainly a volunteer, the people that are working the actual event aren't getting paid. They're volunteers, but that doesn't mean that like, it's just all, willy nilly and there isn't like there's hard, like people are putting money, people like yourself, like you put money on the line to, to put on this thing for other people with absolutely no guarantee that you were going to see any sort of return. Like that's a ballsy risk.
Yeah. Cause, so like 2020, shut us down, and I couldn't go back to those sponsors and say, hey, you want to sponsor us again?
Right.
So it was a lot of out of pocket, expense for myself.
Yeah.
And I don't think people realize that. And, again, this was our second event. Mm-hmm. So we've got some really great sponsors, but we don't have a lot of sponsors. So you have to know how to manage those funds in a way, what I mean, for like, t-shirts, t-shirts cost, the tickets cost, the pass cost, everything costs.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot of personal expense for myself, but I love doing this.
Right.
And to walk around and see everyone so happy, and our numbers increased. We had 1,700 additional people walk through that door.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It's it's a small town, but that's a pretty good increase coming out of a pandemic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is to see growth, not only see growth going from one event to the following event, but to see growth after the year that never was, to actually say, hey, we actually did better than we did before,
I feel like going forward, we're going to continue to grow every year. The amount of feedback that I've had from people, it's been overwhelming how much they loved it, how much fun their kids had.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what makes it for me, and to see all those little kids so happy. And, I was dressed like Scarlet Witch, and a couple of them wanted me to autograph their.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So that was, that just, that made me the happiest, to see everyone so happy and having fun. But,
well, like you talk about the smiles, like, the kids, like when you did the kids cosplay contest.
Yes.
And I thought the two girls you had up there running that did a great job there as well. And one of the ladies up there was dressed as Ray, and there was another little girl dressed as Ray, and like, you know, like she sees her, and they like, there's like, both their faces light up, and they're like, we need a picture. And I'm like elbowing Rich. I'm like this is what cons are all about. Like seeing somebody that's dressed like something you love, and like getting the whole like connection. Like there were some kids running around like Spider-Man, or big fans of Spider-Man, seeing Spider-Man on stage.
Yes.
Like Richard kind of said, like the family atmosphere here was just top notch in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I think it's a good way to like. I think it was a good way, you know, because you know, like I said, like I've been to you know, like I've been to C2E2 in Chicago and San Diego ComiCon, and a lot of those bigger places have a very like almost inside baseball kind of feel, where if you're not in on stuff, then you're not in on stuff. You know, you can go to a place like that and feel excluded if you don't understand things. But like let's say you're somebody that just, you know, maybe watched a Marvel movie once, or, you know, because your older brother had it on, and then you could go to an event like this and still feel included. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, I appreciate that, because that's what we want. We want everyone to feel like they're part of something, part of it, you know. So yeah.
Well, and I thought I heard you kind of alluding to just a second ago too, your DJs.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
They were amazing. Oh, they were the best. They're coming back next year too.
That's so, you know, something as this thing grows, because I feel like this thing's going to keep growing, and you're going to find bigger and bigger venues for it in the years to come. The places I've been, usually if they have a like DJ type thing, it's somewhere off in the middle of nowhere, and it's always super awkward when you walk by. But what Big River Comic Con had for their 2 DJs was the best, and I felt like they kind of like had to warm up the first day, kind of like Richard and I, but they totally hit their groove that second day and just were amazing.
Yeah, they really did. And so they were, when we all went out to eat Saturday evening. Those 2 guys are already working on some stuff for 2022 as well for the event. So I'm like, shoot me your ideas and we'll do it, you know?
Yeah. And that's something I think Richard and I, we were, you know, doing a bunch of trying to come up with some stuff like just at our table too, but I think we really want to be involved in as much as possible. So if they want to work us in somehow, we will definitely love to be in it. Because we had some interactions with them just kind of on the side stage where it wasn't quite like talent versus talent type thing, but I weren't sure if we're like feeling each other out. Like, oh, can we talk to these guys?
Let's be honest. Talent versus us.
Yeah, well, very true.
No, definitely. We could definitely work something out to where, you know, maybe all 4 of you are kind of a little more involved.
Oh, no.
So I'm writing that down too. Are you guys going to dress up?
There goes the family-friendly aspect.
You know, I was actually kind of thinking that Richard and I should try to figure out some kind of costume idea. We talked about like Deadpool and Spider-Man are really good ones because you're kind of behind a mask, so you can be goofy and no one really knows it. But we need to come up with some type of outfit. Maybe Dumb and Dumber should be our thing, Richard.
No,
one of us be Lloyd, one of us be Harry.
As soon as you said that, immediately I thought Wonder Twins.
Yeah, we could do. Oh yeah, Wonder Twins. We could do
Wonder Twins. 100%.
Or
activate.
We could do that.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah.
We could do Jay and Silent. Although if we do Jay and Silent Bob, that means one of us has to shave a beard.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I think we've already talked about it. I'm more the Silent Bob, so.
I'm not allowed to. My wife won't. I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed to shave a beard. Not allowed at all. This baby face will never be seen again. Yeah.
Writing that down. You guys will be dressing up, and yeah.
Perfect.
So
perfect.
Is there anything else that you kind of want to talk about for the 2021 Big River Comic Con before we jump into any plans you can share, or any kind of ideas, or any kind of like even just kind of nerdy stuff that we're preparing for 22?
Well, right now I am looking at our 2021 schedule, and I kind of see some things that I want to change with the schedule, how I had some of the cosplays set up. I am already talking to one celebrity guest, but I can't reveal who because contracts and
Sure. Understood.
Like that all has to be.
We'll talk later. I mean,
we'll talk later. Yes. No, not really. It's just kind of the beginning part of it. I kind of want to have a little more gaming downstairs besides the Magic the Gathering. I want to have something else incorporated into that.
Yeah, you get some like RPG, like tabletop one-shot stuff going on. Would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Shawn could run an adventure. I'll DM an adventure. Hell yes.
Okay, well, I am too. I am looking into some more gaming for next year. Probably won't run as late as we had scheduled for this year because, we had Saturday night going till 9 p.m.
Right.
And that's just because we really didn't know how many cosplayers would show up for the cosplay contest. So now we have a better idea of how long and about how many, because, we took that 1 year off.
Right.
And it was, came out of a pandemic. But I will change the hours for 2022. I don't think we'll run as long. And then that'll give me an opportunity to hang out more with you guys after the event.
Perfect.
Yes, because I am looking into like some kind of small event for the con goers outside of the event. Does that make sense?
Oh, that'd be cool. Like little, like kind of remote things. So that way it kind of like,
basically
you kind of like slowly creep over the town. Like,
So I'm looking. So if we shut down a little sooner, that'll allow us to do something for the nighttime.
Oh, yeah. That's
a
an
good
awesome
idea. Kind of get a little bit of the word of mouth that Friday night, and somebody might see that and be like, oh, crap, maybe I'll go to that tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like they see something Friday night and they're like, oh, you guys are doing this tomorrow? Well, I'll show up tomorrow. I mean, after, I wake up from my probably terrible hangover, but I will definitely show up tomorrow.
Yeah.
At least that's how
I've got some little things up my sleeve that I'm working on. So you'll just have to stay tuned.
Yeah. Keep a watchful eye on the horizon. Oh, one thing I was going to say is so like you said, this is the second year you did it. So the last time we had the convention, you had 40, I think it was 4,200 people.
4,200 people.
Yeah. And that's in one day. That was one day.
That's why we did 2 days this year to thin out that crowd.
Because
it's too many people in one place. So the 2 days actually worked very, very well.
That's
I don't think we'll ever do I don't think we'll ever do 3. Just because a lot of the vendors work, and if you're having a on Sunday, it's hard for them to get home and back to their jobs and things like that. So the 2 days worked out really, really well.
100%. So that's why the crowd seemed very like they're like you never felt like that congestion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like whenever you go to a convention and you feel like you're gonna get like squished. I never felt that. But that being said, there was a constant there was a good just constant flow of people. And it went really, really. I think having it as a 2-day event, even though your numbers, even though you did more than the last time, like it did not feel congested at all. So if you're claustrophobic, you're totally fine. You're not going to feel like you're being crushed by a throng of people.
Yes, because that first year it was overwhelming. The first year there was just too many people in there. So it was really nice this year. Steady flow. But I already picked my dates for 2022.
Yeah.
It's April 8th and 9th. And the reason why I picked those dates is because there's some other cons going on in the month of April. So I didn't want to interfere with those conventions.
Okay.
Because 3 of them had already picked their dates, and I kind of wanted to get a little ahead. So we will actually.
That. I say take them on. Take them on, take them down.
Well, I think the 8th and 9th works really well for me because I know that was probably in consideration because this year it ran around my son's birthday, so I definitely had a lot of juggling going on. But the 8th and 9th, oh man.
It's all about Shawn. Yeah. Here we go.
I'm going to be the Richard going out 3 nights in a row, and he'll be taking care of me.
Yeah, and then you can spend 4 days nursing your voice back to health. I'm dead serious. Like Shawn's like, oh, we can record like, maybe like the Sunday or Monday after the con, and then Sundays I was like, Shawn, I can't talk.
Yeah, so I called him. He's like,
I can't do anything. I can't.
I lost my voice as well. I did. I lost for a couple.
Yeah, it wasn't until Thursday until I got it back.
Yeah, I didn't do karaoke, so I think my voice was like shot for a day and a half, but then I was good.
Yeah,
that's true.
So, but right now, as it stands, we will be the second convention of the year in 2022.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to remember who's before us, but there's one con right before us, a couple of weekends before us, and then we will be the second one, and then 3 follow after. So I'm excited about that. And I'm hoping to pull some St. Louis people, Kansas City people into the event this year. So
nice.
And that's so are you thinking, and I don't know what you can and can't say, but are you thinking the same venue and everything, or do you have your eye on a different place?
Oh, same venue, same venue. Place. Yeah, the Tabernacle, the Rec Center. It's an amazing location for what we have.
I didn't know it existed until then, and then I show up and I'm like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah, and the celebrities, several of the celebrities were like, this is an amazing location. The celebs loved it. So, we will definitely be having it at the Rec Center again. So,
yeah, that was perfect. And having that stage kind of like right there in the middle kind of was a nice little spot for people to kind of circle around and see. Easy to get to, easy to see through everything. I really enjoyed
that way. You're able to pump music through the entire event. Oh, it was great.
Yes,
perfect.
Yep. It'll be at the same location. So I already checked with them. I checked with them actually like 2 days after the event. So
which, you guys are good for next year.
Yeah, like we're good, right? But actually, so Nathan, he's my team. He's one of my team members. He's one of the pastors at the church, so it's good having him on the team. So
a nice little in there.
Yeah. Because he enjoys the convention as well. So yeah.
Well, and I guess one of the other things to kind of talk about, kind of maybe prepping for next year as well, is food options at cons is never good. Anytime I've been to one, it's usually like crappy pizza or like boiled hot dogs or something
it's usually the same fare. It's like ballpark food, but like not ballpark food.
It's not.
If ballpark food is a 7, like con food is usually like a solid 4.
Yeah, it's like a bad high school baseball team, like concession stand.
Yes, it's a concession stand. That's it.
But you brought in a local barbecue place, Rebel Pig, which was delicious. I'm kind of curious, are you looking at probably like a single food truck next year, or is there options for multiple food trucks?
So we did try to get a second food truck this year, and they kind of about 3 weeks prior to the event, they let us know they couldn't make it. Definitely going to have Rebel Pig back. And we do want to have another food truck with something other than, barbecue, maybe funnel cakes or cotton cakes, something for the kids. So yeah, we are looking into that as well.
There you go, Shawn. Let's run a food truck.
Richard and I have always talked so the best food truck
out of the parking lot.
Yeah, we want to basically, we have to do it in California, but the only place that knows about these, and you'll know about them too, because you're from, the Midwest area, horseshoes, right?
Right.
Oh, here we go.
Nobody knows about horseshoes. I told Richard, we pack up and we drive to California and we start selling horseshoes.
We'll be huge.
Yeah.
We'll just sleep on piles of money.
Well, no, I didn't mean money. We'll just be physically huge because we'll eat so many horseshoes.
I'm 40% cheese sauce.
I'm just eating my profit. But yeah, like the food was amazing there too. And so it was really nice to kind of get, and it was all outside too, which was a beautiful day. And so you didn't have to worry about like people walking around with food.
Mm-hmm.
It was all just like you had a good spot to go for it.
Yep.
So again, kudos for deciding to have a food truck, because food truck is top notch in my opinion.
Thank you. Yeah.
See?
Yep. Next year.
See, so there you go. This was just a good solid, almost hour of us just just like, and that's fine.
Yeah, and I guess anything that you want to share, we're kind of coming to a close, I think. But I think Richard said it perfectly, and I want to say it again because you really you felt like our nerd mom through all of this, and
yes,
I if it's not official, if we can't make it official, Deb the nerd mom.
Yep.
Or if you're not offended for us calling you our nerd mom, we'll probably continue that for forever.
You can call me nerd mom.
Perfect.
Awesome.
we got to hang out with Deb. Hopefully next year we'll actually get to hang out, spend the evening.
Yes.
Hanging out and stuff. I did. I met your kids. Your kids are great.
Thank you.
Your daughter's fiance Nick, awesome dude, fantastic. And I think that's again that just kind of goes back to is it a convention? Yes. Does it have all the trappings of a convention? Of course, yes, it does. But at the same time, it's able to have the it feels cliche for saying it, but it's the big city feel with the small town. I can't think of the word. I'm at a loss for a word.
Accoutrement.
The sousson of.
I don't even know what that means, but I always hear people say it.
Small town hospitality, or
there you go. Yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, Deb, I just want to kind of give you some time to anything else you want to talk about this year's con, next year's con, places to send people that may be interested. The floor is yours.
Yeah, if people are interested to volunteer, or if anybody's got
so yeah,
pimp it out.
So yeah, our Facebook page right now is still our main page as far as if you want to volunteer for next year. Shoot us a message. I will have a website back up and running, hopefully by October. So that's going to help. I'm going to try to do the online sales for next year, but once we get the website up, we can do that. I'm already working with one guest right now, as far as getting him booked. Let's see. There will be some changes, some little changes as far as the time frames, because I do want to have something kind of fun after the event one night at a different location, maybe downtown somewhere. So yeah, there'll be some really great changes for next year. I love it. I think people will be really excited what we're going to bring to them next year. Yeah, so we're just going to keep growing.
Well, I know when Richard said you were going to announce when this came out, this is the Friday or the Sunday after you announced when you were releasing this. Doing 2022. I was super excited because I was hoping everything went well enough that you could do a 22 Big River Comic Con. So I'm very excited for next year.
Yes, yeah, I am too. It's going to be great. So, and thank you guys for all your kind words and everything. I appreciate it. I really do.
I mean, if you want, we could shut the show off and just sit around and compliment you for another hour.
Yeah,
I totally have that in me.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I am genuinely like very
You're so
impressed about
pretty,
it.
and I just love the way your hair shines in the sun.
And the way, like when we're
And-
talking, you just make me feel like so comfortable. Like I could tell you anything.
You just
Like
you
this-
penetrate me with your eyes. They just dig into my soul.
Well, I'm the nerd mom, so hey.
But yeah, like if anybody is in the Hannibal area, it's definitely worth the drive. Lots of good hotels there. And even just visiting Hannibal, Missouri in general. It's facebook.com/Big River Comic Con. Go there to get all the information. Like you said, there's going to be a site up hopefully around October. And if there's nothing else, Deb, I'll go ahead and toss it up to Richard for some Richard's closing thoughts.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, I feel like I should wrap this up quick. So I'll just go with it was an awesome con. Can't wait for next year. Deb's amazing. And April 8th and 9th is when I hope to see everybody's bright, shining, smiling faces. The end.
I love it. Well, I'll do a little bit of housekeeping, but again, Deb, thank you very much for jumping on. Thank you very much for inviting us to the con this year. And thank you very much for throwing on one of the most amazing cons that I've attended, and definitely one that is going to be on my yearly to-do every single year. It's already going to be on the calendar, 8th and 9th. It's only thing I'm doing is I'm going to Hannibal, Missouri for Big River Comic Con.
Can't wait to see you guys.
All right, let me do a little bit of housekeeping. So for us, you can visit our website, we're at languageofbroance.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at languageofbro. Email us at bros@languageofbroance.com. We always like to thank our patrons, Wendy and Aaron.
Yeah, you guys better show up too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll buy their
100%.
tickets next year. If they're going to go, we'll buy their tickets.
Let's not
yeah.
get crazy here. Let's not put ourselves out there that much. Let's wrap it up.
All right. Well, Deb, Richard, is there anything else before I close her out?
No, I'm good.
I'm good too.
All
Thanks for
right.
having me.
Not a problem. Well, that's all the Bromance have for this show. I'm Shawn.
And I'm Richard.
And I'm Deb.
And remember, don't be a why. Be a why.
Be a why not.
This episode is going to be like titled Nerd Mom or something.
It is.
Nerd mom.
Well, you're the one that writes the title.